things known and there are things unknown. And in between are the doors of perception. As most of North America tried to stay warm amid an extended blast of Arctic air that saw prolonged low temperatures in the minus 20s and 30s, even -4 in Orlando, Florida, the Winter Olympics have been thrust upon the world. And now that my kids are old enough to really get it, it's a new experience with an old friend. The 2026 Winter Olympics in Italy. It got me thinking about greatness, and more specifically, is there a recipe for greatness? I figured if we could find it anywhere, it would be in an Olympic athlete. I was looking for a few possible categories that cross over between different athletes. The first is that in order to get where they all had to go through some pain and suffering, sometimes heartache along the way. The second is that from the suffering, they produce tremendous amounts of resilience, grit, and determination to overcome. It's not always a pain to purpose story. In fact, I noticed how young some of these athletes are, and it's a little difficult to develop grit at such a young age. So is there another factor? In my research of championship caliber athletes, I did find a third correlation, in addition to pain and resilience. It's that these gold standard athletes, they must be able to touch it and touch it at a young age. What I found was examples in my own life for me and my kids. My kids are dancers, and they're being on stage taught by some of the best dancers in the world. The top dancers in Canada teach my kids so they see it up close and personal. My kids also run 5K races, probably because they've been to races and they've seen people cross the finish line a lot faster than me. When I was a kid, we had this legend stay at our house. The sport is called Gaelic football, and you've probably never heard of it. The guy's name was Martin O'Connell, and he stayed with us for, in 1990, what was called the St. Patrick's Day Games at the Skydome. A few years later, he was named starting left back to an all-century team, a team for the ages, an all-star team of the best players in the history of the game. Only 15 men were named starters, and he was one of them. And he was staying at my house, coming to watch me play hockey. And we also got to kick the ball around in the snow. I could tell he never saw snow before. He's a champion, and his home team's colors were green and gold. Fast forward to today, Milano Cortina, Italia, and a Canadian snowboarder from Havelock, Ontario, named Cameron Spalding. Havelock, an hour northeast of Toronto. The closest mountain is 5 hours away. And I got curious, how could this guy be at the Olympics? I discovered that when he was young, his parents had a snowboard half pipe in his backyard. Pros would come from around North America to Cameron's house. And as an 8-year-old, he got to see that up close and personal and touch it. Next, I started to look outside of the Olympics to other peak performers to see if the trend was elsewhere. John Schneider lived in a neighborhood where there was a pro baseball player who used to hit and throw balls with the kids when he was 8 years old. On Halloween Day, 2025, Schneider coached Game 7 of the World Series. Even more recent is Drake May, the 23-year-old New England Patriots quarterback, just played in the Super Bowl. When he was 13, he attended the Super Bowl, surely telling himself that one day that will be me. The Williams sisters, Venus and Serena, have you seen the movie? Their father brought them from Compton over to Beverly Hills to practice with the best coaches and tennis players in the world. He wouldn't take no for an answer because he believed in his daughters, but he also believed that they had to see it to make it real. Every day we open doors for our kids, doors that will end up forming their perception. It's our job to open the doors, and it's their job to walk through. On the other side lies their greatness. And if we let them touch greatness, they can cross the threshold to a gold medal life, but only if we can get in between the doors of perception.